sure.
So I think we're live. We're live.
We're
And
live.
We're
absolutely live.
Thanks, man.
Rip, we are live.
We on TV?
I think so. I mean, two handsome young men like us, we belong on TV.
Shit, you got the same goddamn haircut you've always had.
Well, they just don't grow no more.
I guess if you're hot and draw all them young women, I guess why change, right? See, I got the Donald Trump look.
Oh,
It's a little bit. If I up here at the top when it gets wet, it looks like I got 8 hairs. But Trumpy's over with me, so what the hell, right?
well, yeah, it's very it's very fitting now. You got the haircut for the right president, huh?
Yeah, I just well, there's no doubt about that. Did I vote? No. Last time I voted, I was 18.
Right.
I voted the first time, and I said, "This is all total bullshit."
To work, right?
And said I haven't voted since. So,
yep.
What the hell, right?
Well, that's the thing. One of the things I learned from you, Rip, is that everything's a work. And that's the kind of education that you can't get from the couch because you don't want to believe it.
Oh no, you don't know. It's best to be just stupid from a small town, not know anything because all this shit's happening. I don't want to know what it is.
Right. Yeah, you just want to get back up into a bubble and stay protected, and or do the old ostrich, stick your head in the sand. It's just easy.
Yeah, I just stick my head in, and I just take my glasses off and say, what's happening? I don't know. I said, I can't see nothing. So on the thing here, I can't see nothing anyway because my glasses are years old. I was supposed to get some new ones or whatever, but that costs too much money, so I can't do it. So I'm sitting here and I can't see nothing.
That's all
but
right.
Anyway.
It's all right. As long as you can hear what I'm saying, then we're going to have the greatest show. Actually,
today.
Yes, that's right. So the common refrain on the Wrestling with Rip Rogers Live is that this is the greatest podcast we've done today. But this actually could be one of the greatest shows that Wrestling with Rip Rogers Live has ever done, because we're going to be rocking and rolling, cooking. The chat's going to be on fire, I'm sure.
Rock and roll, threatening, strolling, baby.
Right. So it's not just a saying. This week it could be one of the best. And yeah, we got Shane Parks in here. He says, "Good morning from Roseburg, Oregon. It's 8 a.m. here. Worked last night till 10 p.m. Went to bed at 2 a.m. and now here for the podcast. Not bad."
Well, he didn't include that to give himself a wank thinking about this young little tart down at the malt shop. But, that's okay. Anyway, Roseburg, that's a hot town. Used to be every other week. Don Owens, Roseburg.
I was going to ask, was that part of the loop?
We do a Roseburg Medford. And that would be the only one we would spend the night because we got the good hotel rate, and then we could stay till like an hour before the show. It'd be the old Roseburg, the Roseburg Medford for Portland wrestling. It didn't get any better than that. It didn't get any better than that when you had guys like Rick Martel. You had Piper there. You had Playboy Buddy Rose there. You had the Colonel Ed Wiskowski there. You had Johnny Mantell there. You had Iceman Parson when he first started out. So it was and Salvatore Bellomo was there. Fucking Sal, always stirring shit and never backing it up. But that was Bellomo, baby.
So Iceman started in Oregon.
That was his first territory. He was trained in Dallas or whatever, and then. First day in, Elton goes, he goes, King, who trained you? And he says, he says, well, here you're at Oregon or now or whatever he called it. And Iceman just shook his head. He didn't know what the hell to say. I said, that's okay. That's just Elton. It's all a rib.
Yeah, that's a hell of a gimmick. He got to be called Iceman and King.
Yeah.
Like most people only get one good name,
Well, he was, Elton, King, the King, okay, King. I guess, what the hell, Iceman, King. I mean, they're sort of like, at least his last name's Parsons, so not too confusing with Adam Parsons and Rock Parsons. So anyway, what can you say?
Yeah, last name adds a bit of legitimacy. $2 from Shane Parks, by the way.
Oh shit, Shane got his quarters out. He's playing poker, won $2 last night. He's going to throw it our way. It don't get any better than that. Bobby Lopez is in the house. He goes, he's insulting us. Sup, bitches.
Oh, maybe he's probably talking to the other people in the chat, not us. Like he wouldn't call us the bitches. He's talking to Frank's pickle barrel ass and Shane. Shane also asked it. I mean, you've talked about this a lot, but do it again. Do you have a favorite match with Adrian Street?
I can't remember.
You worked how many times? Like what?
Well,
hundreds
I worked
of times?
with him 26 weeks in a row.
So is that 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
On the average of 6 days a week.
So you're talking about well over 100 times.
Whatever the hell that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like
around 150.
there was 2 or 3 days. I went, this was in Continental, 86 towards 87 or whatever the hell it was. And when I got done working Adrian, I escaped my notice. I said, I'm leaving. Fuller said, what, you're leaving? You just come in and work with Adrian? I said, yeah. I said, I ain't going to top that. I said, before you would start me here and then you'd work me up, and I'd be on fire and I'd leave. You give me the goddamn best right away and I ain't going to follow it. So I'm just going to be in a bad mood, boring, etc. So I'll just go somewhere else. He goes, I never heard of that. I said, well, I never did things the normal way. So what the fuck, right?
Yeah. That's interesting, but you're right. Yeah, there's, like you always say, it don't get no better than that, and it really wouldn't at that point if you guys had the hottest blow off. Do you remember what the blow off was, or was there anything special, or was it just one big last match, or what?
Hell, I can't remember what the fuck it was.
Right.
We did so many things with twists and turns, and me and Adrian, we never went out there with pre-planned bullshit. He just sold, and if he did something, I'd leave an opening half-assed, and he knew exactly what to do. Then all of a sudden, he'd hurt him, he'd twist his knee or whatever, and then I'd just doing something to me. The easiest thing to do as a babyface is to be on top, and all of a sudden, you like tweak your knee or whatever, and you quarter turn. Even you quarter turn, the guy can clip you in behind if he wants it on the leg or can hit you in the back, whatever. That was just your opening. And the babyface is always on top. You don't even have to really stop him. He stops himself. And then you can choose whatever body parts you want to fucking hurt to get on that son of a bitch, beat the fuck out of that goddamn arm, leg, neck, stomach, back, meat, whatever the fuck you want to goddamn do, which people today, they wouldn't understand it anyway because they got to get their fucking dive in and do 99 false finishes for no goddamn reason. And then you can say, oh my God, I can't believe he kicked out. Fuck you motherfuckers. Anyway. Hey, it's okay. I can cuss because it's way past 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Now, a guy told me, he said, no, don't cuss the first 10 minutes. Then they won't look at any more of it. They think you ain't going to cuss today.
Well, these people here, they know what they're in for. Speaking of which, we got Frank's Pickleball ass cleaning the garage, half day at work. Wife's in the Rip Rogers t-shirt, thongs again on a Friday here. For some reason I find that somewhat doubtful, but let's just go with it. Gregory Mola, you guys are helping with recovery today. Spinal surgery yesterday. Keep up the good work. Bull Diggin, he's from Germany, right? Good afternoon, folks.
That's pretty good. That's eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben, acht, neun, zehn. Speaking German.
That's you.
Jangle Fitz in the house. He said, I didn't see last week's stream. Is there a new coho? Well, just for today and next week we got the vet. Goddamn.
That's right.
Formerly from the army of two, morphed into the army of one.
That's right. But we're back now. Now you're in the army of two now, Rip. You're the second. You're the what did I call Zeus? I called him the XO, the executive officer, and I was the CO.
Oh,
so
okay.
But yeah, so maybe I'll let's see here. Let me get to a question because Shane Park asked about Bob Armstrong. He's heard you mention Brad. We wondered about Bob. I'm sure you got a lot of Bullet Bob stories too, right?
All the Armstrongs. When I remember when I was a kid, or Brian Armstrong was a kid growing up when I was working for Fuller's. Of course, I went through all the Armstrongs: Bob, Steve, Scotty, Brad, and then Road Dogg. And then Road Dogg, he was just like goddamn Mr. fucking charisma. And then Bullet was when you'd see him goddamn dance at the fucking shows. And all the Armstrongs, when you work with them, they never touched you.
Yeah, they work light, right? That's what I always
Oh, it's
heard.
fucking awesome. I remember
Yeah.
I'm working with fucking Bullet. I said, Bullet, I said, you are allowed to touch me, you know.
Yeah,
But
you
then
remember
again,
what was it? Seth Skyfire. I remember him talking about Bullet Bob, and he said he was so light it was almost off-putting.
off-putting.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you feel weird because it's like a ghost. Like it's not you're not there. Like you said, he's not touching you, but you're used to like a little bit of contact. You don't have to crowbar somebody, but you wanna let them know they're there sometimes. But I guess Bullet Bob was so light, it was like he
He
wasn't there.
the Bullet was goddamn fucking awesome. And I talk all the time about how good Brad Armstrong was. You could do stuff to mess him up, and he knew every ploy there was. He was so well trained, and he would just stay in a tie up till I told him to do something or I did something, and we just tie up and whatever, and I'd say, give me a shitty backdrop. You know what I mean? I didn't want everything smooth all the time. I wanted. Why would wrestling? And you have all these real sports, and there's misses, there's glances, there's a something you're just barely staggered, you completely miss them. And then why would in wrestling should be everything be fucking perfect? It should be you're trying. Even I know what you're trying to do, and you know what you're trying to do, and we should almost be half-past stalemated on everything. And then from a knockout punch to a solid jab to a grazing blow to missing something to a partial block and stuff. That's why you can make your match special, because it's not the same old shit of stupid high spots for no fucking reason. Everybody doing a goddamn dive. Everybody doing 132 false finishes, each one on a 2.9 count. Holy shit. Watch the other matches, whatever they do. Don't fucking do it. But you can do as a fucking false finish something that was a finish earlier in the match, because people will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I was booking, we had a 5-match format. I had the sunset flip to finish for every goddamn match for the first 4. The final match, I did a sunset flip. They went 1, 2. I kicked out. The whole fucking building jumped up because they thought that was it. And I just started fucking laughing. I was going, God damn, this shit is so fucking easy.
Yeah.
But you won't see it today.
Sometimes when I watch guys today, I'll see the way I'll tell who's with it and who's not, even if they, they all make their mistakes, but the way I see if a guy's with it, sometimes sometimes I'll see him go for something early and then he doesn't get it and then he gets it later, or vice versa. Or sometimes even from match to match, like he'll beat a guy with one move, not his finish, then he goes to the next guy and he gets a 2 count because it's not his finish, but he beat one guy with it, right? So I see some guys try to have some of that psychology, but you're also at the mercy of the guy you're working with, the booker, what he wants, and all these other things. So even the guys that are half-assed with it, sometimes they're still not with it.
Well, everything you're saying is the truth, and most of the people you're talking about, they won't understand it anyway. But anyway,
a different language up here today, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the gimmick is if I want matches where guys give up on simple shit. Then people will buy any hold.
Mm-hmm.
They only buy a hold. Oh, there's the stunner. Oh, there's Jake doing the DDT or whatever, right? But if you do stuff and everything's a contest and you give up on something simple and you oversell it, well, he's really hurt because he wouldn't have give up on that crossface before. You know what I mean? I mean, marks are the marks, but we make them the marks. But if we're marks that are more in the dressing room that are at ringside, we screw our own business up. But what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of working the people to think it's like like when there's an injury or something, when they do an injury angle, but they try to work it like it's a thing because the people don't buy it. And then when somebody really does get hurt, then they think it is a work, Yeah. So you confuse everybody. You're working the work and whatever. Let's see. We got Shane Park says, when you book the matches, did you book like Ole to where it made sense? I mean, I think you just described that basically what you're talking about with the psychology of using a sunset flip for a whole card. But, you know, you didn't, let's say you worked for Oli, but you didn't book before you worked for Oli, right? You started booking after you worked for Oli?
Let's say I booked in 86 and 89 in Kansas City and in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah.
Uh-huh. So, and they just called me out of the goddamn blue. Well, what happens is when you're owners, you're set in your fucking ways. And you know you're fucking stale because especially when you got all these weekly towns and you don't want to do repeat shit. You want to let somebody else lay something out, then you can say, no, we did that 8 months ago in this town. Let's not do it here. Well, that's fine. You know, I'll just throw a generic thing at you and then you can correct because you're no matter what, you're paying me. So, but you're also sick of fucking booking. You're fucking burnt out on that shit. And you do get burnt out on that shit, especially when you got talent that's not exceptional. If you got exceptional talent, you can just let them goddamn fucking work. Like I say, boys, watch the match, and don't do any repeats. It's pretty fucking simple. Remember, I'd put on the board, I'd put some guys there, but then I'd put what to dominate with, what's your anchor, and what you get your heat with. You wouldn't have repeats.
Right. And even then, you had everything on the board, so we all knew, okay, don't do it in this match. But we still, I still watched every match anyway, because if somebody forgets and somebody does something else, then you don't want to do that too. So I would still, just because you have everything, written down, I'm still going to watch the match. And I don't know how much the guys care to watch the matches now.
I remember years ago, I started out with an old Memphis spot, arm drag, hip toss, slam, then arm drag, hip toss, slam, drop kick, heel bail or whatever. Fucking Tony Anthony, Dirty White Boy, just did that the match before. And I was fucking taking a big shit. I had to take the shit before the goddamn fucking match. I probably threw in a little J. Arthur wank on it while I was there and took a little longer, but I didn't get to see the opening. And then I was wondering why it was so fucking shitty. And then he said, "Oh, I just did that." I said, "Oh, I wonder why it was so shitty. I should have done it to make it look like that, but they didn't have it fucking backfire or whatever." And then it would have been okay. But don't ask me. I was in there taking the shit and probably giving myself the J. Arthur wank. So what the fuck? But you got. Hey, look what happened. Al Robinson just come through with the $1.99.
Man,
the super sticker, baby. It don't get any better than that.
Gentleman.
No, he always calls us gentlemen. And it's really a rib because there ain't no gentleman on this side, but what the fuck, right?
I try to be a gentleman if I can. Speaking of gentlemen, Frank's Pickle Barrel asks, now this is an interesting question. Did you ever wrestle bare feet? I'm going to guess no. Or against a barefoot guy? I'm going to guess yes.
Oh, yeah. It's normal to work barefoot guys. You'd work some Islander guys or some guy Jimmy Snuka trained or somebody forgot their fucking boots, which I've done before, and I had to use somebody else's boots. Don't know how I forgot my fucking boots, but I goddamn did. But working, I love working the barefoot guys because the heel could always, no matter what, he could always stomp on their toes.
Right. Easy. It's you're basically asking for it.
Yeah.
So, here's another couple guys. You ever wrestle Skip Young? Shane Parks wants to know.
I was on some shows with him years ago, but I didn't wrestle him. I watched him. He had that one of the best drop kicks around. But now this is years ago.
So handsome young babyface, Skip Young. I'm not.
Well, he had the bad eye. He was the blind in one eye, and I think he had the glass eye. And the guy, and I can't remember if they pulled it out as an angle or if that was somebody else or whatever. I said, well, I don't want to touch that one. So what the hell, right?
Yeah. So okay, now what about the Godfather? I mean, but Charles Wright, is that?
Oh, fucking
Papa
Charles.
Shango?
When I was in Global, the first night in, we stayed together at the fucking hotel. We was in the same room. So all we started doing is goddamn telling fucking stories, right? And this motherfucker is so fucking over. as a fucking person, as a fucking stud motherfucking. I just sit back. I said, I don't even want to talk. I just want to just tell me all your shit. And he started going all through this shit. I said, God damn. Because sometimes we're content to be half-assed normal. Mm-hmm. And he was fucking character killer, you name it. And he was over with me.
Let me guess. A lot of the stories did not involve wrestling, did it?
It did not, no.
Okay. All right. You knew this was coming in. I think Frank knows damn well the answer to this, but he says, did the chubby girls treat you to better dinner, places to stay, and rides than the skinny girls?
Well, that's what I told him, son of a bitch, to do. He knows that's the way to do it. You get you a chubby girl.
That's right.
And then put her on a diet, no matter what. She'll lose 50 fucking pounds, and you can verbally abuse her because she's still in the mirror. She looks in there and sees a fat girl. But the fat girls, and get one with 3 jobs, because she's got to give you trans money for you to eat on, pay your gym dues, buy you new underwear and stuff like that. And that's why they have fat girls. That's their goal. That's what they're supposed to do. And they work harder in the sack.
That was as much as any piece of advice that Rip gave us while he was training us. Number one was get you a fat woman, because they'll take care of you and they'll work harder. And we're out there on our own dime, so we're trying to work the gimmick job and everything like that, and trying to make ends meet. But we still got to pay Rip the dues, and we still got to make the car payments. We got to make the apartment payments. We got to make all this other stuff. So he was trying to make it easier on us. A lot of people took him up on it. Some people are still there because they took him up on it. And they came to Louisville and never got back out because they took him up on it. So
I don't think, but yes. Hey, when guys would come to class, and I knew fucking this one they had 4 in this apartment and 5 in this apartment, right? And I knew guys didn't have no money. A lot of times I just say, well, just sneak in line there and whatever. You know what I mean? Well, get me next week, knowing you ain't got nothing this week. You ain't gonna have nothing next week. So there's a whole lot of guys out there and not much money came in. Such is a lie. I was fucking Mark.
It was a good one though. It was good. So speaking of good, William Lynn has been reading Jody Hamilton's biography. Does Rip have any memories of the Masked Assassin?
Oh, I worked around with Jody for years. He was, Nick Patrick is his son, but they never advertised it. Really, right. It was Nick Patrick.
Right, Nick Patrick.
And I remember when Nick was wrestling for Watts. It wasn't he was just always a referee. Mm-hmm. And Jody was so fucking good. And he was partners with Tom Renesto, who was the booker when I first went in for Nick Goulas in 77 and 78. But Jody's low key. I come into every TV. He'd tell me who to bring, or not who, how many guys he wanted, this or that. Never any fucking stress. It was a long trip. He'd say he'd just say, "Oh, get you a double trans sheet." You know what I mean? So with this and that, Jody was easy on the head. I never seen him get upset. He'd seen everything. A lot of times he just, if we did something stupid, he'd just shake his head and that would be it. And he'd say, "Thank you, boys." No reason to get upset. The pay's the same.
Right. Yeah. So Nick Patrick used to be a wrestler, you said, and I know that I don't remember the timeline if your paths would have crossed, but Brian Hildebrand, he wanted to be a wrestler, of course.
Uh-huh.
Were there any other referees that were around that time? Did Randy Pee Wee Anderson ever want to be a wrestler, or was he a wrestler, or how many referees were working?
Well, who'd he come up with? But they used to live together and he had no job. And then they got him refereeing. And then, he come in Mid-South. He was Junkyard Dog's driver. Dog paid him to drive him around in the Mercedes. And then Dog didn't want to pay him, so he got him a job refereeing. So then he could ref and drive Dog to the town. But when he drove the car, that was his trans. So there's Pee Wee come in with a bunch of guys, and then I can't remember which group he came with, but God, I see. When you talking about wrestlers that were workers, I remember like Ricky Ferraro he was Igor Putski years before that, and
Oh.
I'd get him worked up in the ring, and, and I'd get him. He had a fucking rapid fire temper. He'd get real fucking red, and Skandar Akbar would always fuck with him. Ricky, my little tart, how you doing? Fuck you, you Jew. I hate you, Akbar. I hate you. And that was every fucking day. And then we'd take something and hide something of his. Who did it, you son of a bitch? I know it's somebody. I said, well, I guess it is somebody. But what the fuck, right?
Definitely somebody.
Holy shit.
Wahoo McDaniel stories. Now, I know. See, I always think when sometimes people ask you who are the hardest choppers, and I remember you always said Wahoo McDaniel, Ron Garvin, and I can never remember the third person you would usually say. But what would you say?
It was Danny Davis.
Oh yes, Danny. Of course. How could I forget Danny Davis? You're right. Those are the three top. And damn, weren't they all overhand?
No.
No.
Wahoo's could do that one.
Oh, okay.
He went both ways.
Okay.
Garvin was overhand.
Overhand.
Danny Davis was overhand, but then he had, if this part is numb, he'd go the other way and give you the stinging, that way. Oh, fuck. So, as a rib, you ought to book somebody of them 3 in a row, then they wouldn't even have a fucking chest to begin with.
That must have been a hell of a shower. So Craig Roy says, how were the ladies in Shelburne or Liverpool, Nova Scotia back in the AGPW days?
Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling days. What towns were they now?
He says Shelburne, Liverpool, Nova Scotia.
Well, see, the main towns they had was Cocaine. Well, it depends when it was, because they used to run Halifax every fucking Thursday, but for years and years and years, it was Berwick on every Saturday, Bridgewater on Friday, and then North Sydney on Sunday, and Antigonish before that. So you usually do a double shot with that, and then you'd have Cocaine, which was right outside of where we stayed on Monday nights. There was hardly any traffic. We never had a day off in the Maritimes. If you worked for Deep Pockets Dupre, if you worked for Emil, you were there because every week he had to pay that TV bill. So every week he'd be taking in money, and he might run 2 months, but he'll run until he starts having to, if he has to dip in his own pocket, he might run 2. We'd usually run like 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, he wouldn't even show up. We'd rent the ring from him, and we just split the money ourselves with the guys. So there was all different ways of doing it, and he always paid you with cash in the envelope, baby, in the big envelope. So it didn't get any better than that.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, but they all had the ring rats. But some of them was usually like the Bridgewater, and they would be the fat girls, and they'd stay over and go to Berwick the next night. Usually it was a Thursday, Friday, or a Friday, Saturday gimmick when they would stay over and stuff. And then we had a lot of extravaganzas. And with one of that, I remember they had me and Brute Bouchard in one car, and then we had 2 girl wrestlers in there and whatever. But I was doing the double wank, right? We had the girl doing the double wank, and Brute Bouchard was French Canadian. He was one of Rick Martel's buddies from Montreal, and he had the crooked worm, but it was a hump thing. So I beat him getting the wank. I won. The one girl wrestler, I wouldn't mention her name because the name would be changed to protect the innocent, you know. So,
sure.
But anyway, a lotion was allowed in this. So anyway, so he goes, and then when I beat him, he goes, well, that was not fair, because he got the French Canadian accent. going choo 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 choo, and then with me she had to go hoo-ha hoompa hoompa hoompa. So I said, well, that's the way it goes. But anyway, so that was I won the first cum-o-meter the Cumcast, I called it, something like that.
And I assume you remain undefeated in that.
Well, I didn't want to,
No, they didn't have a special belt, maybe a little smaller.
No big award. We just had bragging rights.
Gotcha.
And then all the cool stuff you do all these years that are totally degenerate, etc. And there wasn't no cell phones, right?
Right.
That's screwed up. Let's see, somebody's calling me on my phone. It was spam anyway, so make sure I turn that off. Okay.
That's right. We're back in business. And the gentleman himself, Al Robinson, wants to know any interactions with Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
Let's see. I was with Hump somewhere. I think it was in Tampa. Or I think he'd always been in Tampa, like it seemed like. And I was working there, and he just come in to visit. He was just coming in for something, and he wasn't in all of his gimmick and everything. So he just looked like he didn't look like him until you sit back and really look, because he wasn't wrestling ready,
Yeah. Did he was he always just a manager?
As far as I think he was. I think he used to work. I'm trying to think of what territory it was, where he would help with the ring and would be a gopher and whatever like that. But he had the humble beginnings, and then got into wrestling business. Somebody liked him. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to say. Some people, just make something up.
Right.
But I remember reading. Huh?
I said you heard.
Yeah. A lot of herds.
Yeah,
I always like it when they're not there. So I said, if you ain't there to actually see it yourself, I wouldn't be saying it. But what the fuck, right?
Yeah, telegram. Let's see. We have. So Shane wants to know, do you think WrestleMania 1 would have worked without Piper being the heel? I think without Piper it would have bombed. That's what he said. And then the McMahons would have lost their house and everything if Piper wasn't the heel.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible. The man who destroyed the wrestling business and killed all the goddamn territories, where instead of 800 guys working in America and Canada full goddamn time, learning different styles and shit. Oh, I don't know. I don't have no animosity towards that at all.
No, none at all. Yeah, I'd probably, you can't discount Piper's contribution to that whole thing. I mean, his job was to get people to want to see Hulk Hogan kick his ass, and if he didn't do that, I don't know who would have. But he definitely did.
Well, Hogan, they're missing normalcy in wrestling. If you have a baby face that was as big as Hulk Hogan, and they're the dumbasses that advertise him like being 6'8" and stuff. And we got a picture of Lilas when he's bigger than Hulk by about an inch.
Right. Well, he stopped him from going in, so Hulk knew.
But you got to have a baby face that's smaller, or you're limited. Now you got to work with guys, let's just say like Big John Studd or Ox Baker. There's just a couple names, but you got to be real big, or Hogan ain't worth a shit. Because it's just like, you look at it and there's Hogan and there's fucking Piper. If you're not a real big wrestling fan, you're just watching it for the first time, or you're here because somebody brought you to WrestleMania, you're wondering why this big guy is wrestling this little guy. Well, I said, well, I need to be for the little guy because he's the underdog. Oh my God, I feel sorry for him. Of course, Piper could turn it on and off.
Right.
He could control that audience.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because it's you don't want to have it always like that, but for a guy with as big a mouth as Piper, he will get people to think exactly that. Like, this little guy's mouthing off like that, and somebody needs to shut him up. He doesn't have a chance. And I think that's a lot of his heat at that time. But even as a kid, like I didn't perceive Piper as that small because he seemed so big at just the way his attitude was. So I didn't really look at it that way at that age. But now I just see it as like being a small heel with a loud mouth it's pretty good heat. And they did try to get guys for Hogan, like the Bundys and the other guys that were really big, but it is tough to have a not an underdog babyface champion. To have the favorite babyface champion that's kind of how the whole territory was always run, right? With Bruno and guys like that. Like they wanted the unbeatable babyface, not the underdog babyface.
Well, it's like Bruno was 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
And so it was easy to get a heel that was 6'2" or bigger, legit. I'm talking about, where even though Bruno was as good as he was and as strong as he was, and in how he was projected, it wasn't. There was always some doubt because Bruno wasn't scared to sell, and Bruno wasn't scared to fucking wrestle. When McMahon invented Hogan, just like he invents all the stars now, when they put them on TV with the TV matches, here's your song, do these moves, here's your character. Oh, okay. All right. Great. I'm glad I get to think about anything. I'm just a goddamn fucking robot. No, thank you. But we was talking about size in the matches. Hell, Ronnie Garvin was about 5'7". Fucking Fit Finley's not goddamn big, but he's always standing above you because he's beat your ass. And Garvin didn't back away from nobody. He didn't give a shit who you was. He'd take the son of a bitch right to you and eventually just goddamn chop you down. But some of these matches, when they got like the Undertaker against goddamn Shawn Michaels, everybody puts that match over. I said, this is the most embarrassing shit I've ever fucking seen. I just think if Mike Tyson was boxing a goddamn fucking welterweight. Look at the size difference. You see what I mean? Now you've just thrown out anything of any kind of legitimacy because like in any sport, a good big man will beat a good little man. And then all of a sudden you got the little man, but the big guy was the goddamn fucking baby face. I'm confused, but then again, they sold out. So what the fuck, right? And who cares? And Vince McMahon gets right on TV and then Tough Enough and explains how it's worked. And then they bring the Tough Enough guys in with no experience and just destroy fucking everything and make a mockery of our goddamn fucking business. And the select few make millions and millions of dollars. And the guys that understood the business and they were just whatever. Well, they had to go. They're working at a goddamn Circle K and Walmart with me, Man.
Well,
such is life.
So Frank wants to know, did the Freebird start the Freebird rules thing, or did guys use that years before?
Well, we use it in ICW with we were the Convertible Blondes, me and Ricky Starr and fucking Gary Royal. And then when Ricky Starr went home, then Pez come in and he became one of us. So he had to bleach. Pez had to bleach blonde hair. Pez Watley did. So we all had our little fucking thing, but who started it first? Hell, I can't remember. There wasn't no cable TV then and stuff, but they couldn't keep. Michael Hayes was the greatest heat getter I've ever goddamn seen. As far as if you was a baby face, you loved that motherfucker. And if you was a heel, when he was a heel, you hated that cocksucker. But in that fucking ring, he had the goddamn fucking people. He was really fucking good. That goddamn fucking Michael Hayes was.
Yep. Let's see. Any thoughts on Del Wilkes, the Patriot?
Oh, fuck. He was a good guy. He was. I said, why you wear that goddamn mask? He was a good looking guy. He was a fucking stud looking. As a matter of fact, he was so built, so athletic, and such a stud. He probably got fucking heat, and everybody tried to bury him because whether a baby face or the heel, they would have pushed him. and he'd been in the ring, but he hadn't had the that many matches compared to a lot of the old guys. And they would know how to psychologically just bury your fucking ass, because it was such a fucking anybody that's good. If you was well built and you could fucking work, they'd put that fucking knife in your back. But it was all kill or be killed, especially with the goddamn bitches. Holy shit! Wow. All the enemies would, if they get a new young girl that was hot and could fucking wrestle, all the old enemies would band together until they got rid of her. And then they would go back to hating each other again.
Speaking of Freebirds, did you know Terry Gordy? Italian wants to know, how different was he after his episode?
Shit, Terry started in the business when he was like 13 or 14. And I worked with Terry, and I remember I was working with him for Fuller, and I'd worked with him in Nashville before. And I said, Terry, remember, you're not in Japan. He would adjust that. In Japan, he would fight. I mean, he was aggressive. Mm-hmm. And in America, he was not Bob Armstrongish, but he was loose he was the biggest loose guy I'd ever fucking worked with. Terry hardly fucking touched you. So the first thing I do, I said, Terry, remember, you're not in Japan, you're in fucking America. So work that way. He just started fucking laughing. He was a good fucking dude.
Any Lord Alfred Hayes stories? Was his hog as big as rumored?
Well, I really didn't get a chance to see the hog. If we would have had I could have had a Polaroid then, but we wouldn't have the cell phone, so that would have been out. But I could have brought the tape measure and actually had the width, the length, and checked it for vascularity, muscularity, the big veinage, and everything. And then put it in. Then we
gotta fluff it a little bit, because you don't want the shrinkage. You don't necessarily want to be fully erect, but you do want,
you want it healthy.
Yeah.
You don't, because anybody, if you're with the hard on, that's not, no, I want it fluffed, maybe a fluff and a half, the big vein coming out, right. And pull your nutsack down, so that gives it more of an illusion of being bigger. Somebody threw us a $4.99 Wrestling with Robert.
Yeah, it's this channel. It's probably Von Lilas.
Oh,
so that's like taking $5 out of your left pocket and putting it in your right pocket. It's better over here in the right pocket.
Yeah, but taking your bollocks with your left hand to begin with. So what the fuck, right?
There you go. Let's see. Bull Diggins back in the house, and he put it the German way, so that's hilarious. How is Peter William over here outside of the ring? He did good commentary back then on German TV with WCW, etc.
Oh, it was Peter William, not Peter William. Peter William. When we went to Austria and worked in let's see, Arnold's hometown for 3 days. Seaboden in Vienna for 6 weeks in Vienna, and Peter ran. You didn't see Otto at all, and there. And then when they ran Germany, then you didn't see Peter anymore. So Peter ran Austria, and then Big Arrow ran Hanover and Bremen and whatever, if it was Dortmund, Frankfurt, or whatever.
See, yeah, Bull Diggin also adds that he put over wrestling as a sport, the leagues and stuff, and they do rounds in Germany and stuff like that too.
Yeah, it's like when I went to England, they had the rounds in England, but me and Regal went over there and worked, and we worked American style, so we had the 30-minute match.
Oh,
it was American style rules, ladies and gentlemen. So it was just a 30-minute time limit, because the rounds are easier than shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you got like a 3-minute round, they're all mini stories, right?
Yeah, mini stories.
And then it's the easiest thing in the world, and you got that minute rest in between. So to go out there and work 30, that's a whole lot harder, but it was more mentally into the head, because the English boys could do it in their goddamn fucking sleep.
Believe it or not, on NXT these days, they have something called the Heritage Cup, and it's like a title that they defend, but they use a round system. So some people, if you watch NXT, you do get to see like something like that. And right now, the guy that has the Heritage Cup is Regal's kid.
Briley.
They call him Charlie Dempsey. That's his gimmick name. But
okay,
so he's working rounds even right now these days. So how about that? Let's see. Total Pack 10 says, "Hey Rip," and he asks any Dr. Death Steve Williams memories.
Okay, when I was working for Watts in '83, and Dr. Death had been working a little bit. So I worked him in let's see, what was that fucking double shot on fucking Sundays? We work Oklahoma City, and then you'd work that. That would be real good, and you'd work Sunday was your best fucking day there, because you work Oklahoma City Tulsa, you make a hell of a lot of goddamn money. So I'm working with Dr. Death. So I said, okay. I looked at him and I said, just follow me. He said, okay. So we just had to fucking stare down. So I just slapped that motherfucker in the fucking face as hard as I fucking could. And I didn't even tell him, right? Boom. He looks at me. I could just see the fucking rage come up. I said, not yet, Doc. And then I did it fucking again. And I said, do the deed, do your boom, boom, boom in the finish, right? Mm-hmm. So then on the third one, he blocked that motherfucker. About broke my fucking forearm. I thought he blocked it. He fucking paintbrushed me. And you could see the blood going out my fucking mouth. Then he picked me up and gave me the Oklahoma Stampede. And as he was picking me up, the guy rang the bell. You know what I mean? To start the match, right?
Okay.
Before the match, I kept telling him, but he never did. And then we did that. But holy shit, it was a thing where, because everybody knew who Dr. Death was, so he was just boom, and then I just made that motherfucker. So that was funner than shit, because I didn't want to pull any time. I said, hell, he might fucking kill me, right? This way, he just fucking bloodied my mouth some, because he could hurt you without I remember when he come down to OBW after he'd had that throat thing.
Yep.
And everything.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I met him in passing, just the handshake. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You know, he came through. Seemed like a very nice guy. How long was Dr. Death in the business at that point when you did the spot for Watts there?
God, barely. He'd worked because he was still in school, but he played in was it the USFL football or whatever? He just got done with that or whatever, because he was doing wrestling and the football. So no matter what, he was going to be out of ring shape. And I don't think he was ever in ring shape, because he was like a fighter and not a real worker at the time. He was just busy doing believable, spectacular shit. And I didn't want no part of it.
Well, and he and Gordy would go and do that Japan. So
oh yeah, and they was just, I tell you, the first time I went into Japan, the first night in was fucking TV, and Hara and Tenryu, they beat me and fucking Danny Spivey half to death, and this was Danny Spivey's first time in there, and he was just like, he's ready to scream. He was mad. He says, I don't want to go here and beat these fuckers up. Then I'm going to get fucking fired. You know what I mean? So I said, we just got to take it. So then the next night in, I went right into the game mode, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Joe Higuchi, the ref, said, Baba-san said, you do that every night. I said, thank you. Thank you, Joe. So then all mine was a fucking rib and was fun and wouldn't break a fucking sweat. Where the first night in, they beat me half to fucking death. I said, damn, I didn't know this was fucking real.
Yeah, I've heard people say this. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard people say this, that you know, when you go to Japan and they do that, they want you to hit them back and then they'll start working. Did you ever find that to be the case?
Well, I noticed when we went out there, all the Japanese boys come out.
Mm-hmm.
But then from then on, when anybody tests you the first time, them Japs will hit you really fucking hard, and you hit them back, and all of a sudden they be going, oh, work, because they don't want to fucking do it either. They're just
Right.
doing it because they have to. They're supposed to fucking test you every once in a while, and all you got to do is just fucking whatever. They don't care if you lose or whatever. They just give a shit that you ain't scared to fucking fight back. You know.
Yeah.
But if you're making goddamn money, well, I don't want to get fucking fired. I'm making all this goddamn money, right?
Well, right. You got to go. I mean, you got to go on the tours and everything. So they got to do that every night. Nobody wants to get beat up every night. You got to work at some point.
Yeah.
Give yourself a break, right?
But but TVs was the ones where they wanted it to. Japan, they never had to touch workers. They would hit you hard in a safe place. But hitting people hard in a safe place means this shit's phonier than fuck. Because no, you're going to hit a guy in the soft tissue because you're not going to fucking hurt your hand. You're never going to hit nobody in the fucking forehead. You'd break your fucking hand. God damn.
Yeah.
Fuck. What the fuck,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I'm with you. Italian wants to say, he says, Rip, can you tell us about the Randy Savage, Ronnie Garvin fight? I don't know this one.
The only Garvin, you told me the one about years ago. He had one with fucking Randy, but this was then they was wrestling in Charlotte. I wasn't there. And I guess, well, Randy always said that Garvin hit him with one of the things that would, the ring barriers, it would have the chain, but these heavy things you'd pick up. I guess Garvin just hit Rand. Garvin ain't scared of fucking losing, and Garvin was 5'7", so he'd fight anybody. He didn't give shit.
Yeah. Let's see. Frank says, thank you for taking time to share wrestling history, road stories, etc. So Frank, in between sexually inappropriate questions, does want to show his appreciation and respect.
Well, Frank Pickle Barrel ass, he's over with goddamn fucking me. That's all that goddamn fucking matters.
I mean, he's in green, right? So
well, he's in fucking green, so you know he's
that's a license to kill around here.
He's throwing them dollar bills around every once in a while.
Yeah. Speaking of over, we got T Weasel.
Manny don't put
Valverde
him over.
Is in the house. Jackson County legend.
Don't put Manny the Weasel Valverde over.
I don't need to. He does it himself.
Well, when he gave the trailer park trash gave him the fucking trailer jack that one time at a goddamn OVW, and the fucking Weasel was moving over. he had his arms out like this, and he said, "Put your arms in," and the Weasel goes like this and scoots over a little bit, so it's close. And then he jumps right up, no sell. So I'm supposed to get out of the ring. I said, you sell, then you roll out of the ring. That's why we couldn't make Manny the champion, you know.
Damn. It was that close. Shane says, whatever happened to Bad Company, the tag team DDP match in the AWA? I thought they were a good team, he said.
Well, the problem was fucking Dallas Page is about 6'5". And here's fucking Pat Tanaka, and Pat was real short, and then Tom Boric, or what was his working name?
Paul Diamond?
Yeah, that's Paul Diamond's name was Tom Boric.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was athletic and everything, but fucking Dallas looked like a goddamn giant compared to them two. And it's hard for them to get fucking heat when your goddamn manager is too big.
Yeah. But I mean, they did end up, well, after that, didn't Tanaka and Diamond go on to something else, or was that pretty much it?
I don't know. I didn't watch wrestling.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, Charles the Hammer Evans in the house says, hey.
The Hammer's
over. Let's see. What's up, Charles?
Hammer needs to send us in a 30-second video of him doing the fucking whirly bird.
The whirly bird. Well, maybe he could keep that video, I think. But I mean, Bull Diggett says, didn't Peter William run Bremen Hanover for a while and Otto and Wien, but they could switch it by then? I know Otto running Bremen too, but not Peter and being interesting.
I don't know. I didn't know what. If you'd been there a couple times, you would know that. But I only went that one season, and that was it.
Al says, "What are some of the factors that go into deciding how to book a show from town to town?"
Are you talking regular towns? Or are you talking spot shows?
I think what he's asking is like, you got the same crew and you run this loop. Like, how did they decide to how do you decide how to book the show? Do you just, if this is back in the day, like you said, before cell phones or whatever, the people aren't seeing it. So you could just do the same card and the same matches theoretically town to town and no one would know the difference.
Well, if me and you's working a program on TV, that's who the people want to see.
Right. It's so TV factors into it, right?
Yeah, it's so
how you do
it's simpler than shit. So you got four guys that are working with against four other guys, and you got a tag team who's feuding. You just do the same old shit that you do as your regular towns, and hopefully the people haven't seen it. If they want to see the same thing, they went to the big town, and more power to them. And they know it's phony, and they know they're going to see a rerun. But if it's you against Ivan Koloff on TV, they want to see you against Ivan Koloff in some sort of form. Just don't. If a match is on TV, just keep it completely different than what you did on TV.
Right. Now, Rip, if I know you are the kind of guy that would probably get bored of doing the same match from town to town. So you
I never
want to switch it up.
I never in my life did repeat matches. I couldn't fucking do it. I just could not fucking do it. God, is fucking boring.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Rip, ever run a show? This is Drew Wilson now. Hey, Rip, ever run a show in the John R. Wooden Gym in Martinsville? Ever hear about the rumors of that town?
Well, are you talking about the racial rumors?
I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
But Martinsville was a famous racist town, but they were competitive in sports, and that's for goddamn sure. And I hate Martinsville because we was undefeated and they was undefeated. My senior year in football, I got fucking clipped by this motherfucker. And my Achilles tendon, and fucking I limped the rest of my fucking senior year. I hated that cocksucker. I don't even want to think of, I can't think of his name, but when I ain't trying to think about it, then I'll come back here and scream about him last year. Fucking hit me with a fucking clip in my fucking ass. Cheap ass fucking cocksucker.
Yeah.
Martinsville Artesians. What they are. Well, you talked about the John Wooden. Yeah, that's big time though. Johnny Wooden coming from Little Martinsville and being the world's greatest college basketball coach for the Bruins.
So I take it no one ran a show in that gym, or you didn't run a show.
No, I didn't run a show. No, they had. I think I ran the most when you go into Indiana, which is a high school basketball thing. A lot of towns have bigger gyms than people are in the town. So it was a big deal to use the high school gym for anything. Mm-hmm. You just go to the Armory, put some fucking posters up, get some radio shit, do some newspaper stuff, and just run a show. If you had somebody from Martinsville, and put them on the card, you'd be all right.
Well, what if you put Stan Hansen on the card? Any Stan Hansen memories? Well,
the best Stan Hansen story I got is Ole had me. I went in. Ole said, "The list's up. Who's on TV? Ole's got me listed with fucking Stan Hansen." So I looked at that. I said, "Ole, come here." Pulled a magic marker out, scribbled my name out, wrote Ole Anderson on there. Said, "Fuck you." And that was it. I wasn't going to work with Stan Hansen. He might have fucking killed me.
Look, here's a question. A question from the vet here. Could Stan Hansen ever see at any point in his life, or was he born blind and just dealt with it?
Well, whenever I saw him, he was in the ring. Even in the ring, he was squinting all the time. He couldn't see anything. So, fuck. That just means don't work with him. Now, if he was a little skinny guy, that's one thing. With fucking Stan was so goddamn fucking big, fucking raw bone fucking hoss. No, thank you. Hell no. Fuck no. Give me a bonus. I might.
Yeah, for the right price.
Yeah.
Craig Roy says, did you ever wrestle the Beast in AGPW?
Who am I? The Beast. Who am I? The Beast. Yeah, the Beast was tough. He was older and sort of, and I was mean. I would just rib him and stuff. He'd do something. He goes, I'm the Beast. I wouldn't put him over. Just fuck with him. So that was bad. I know. And then, but Leo loved it. Leo Burke did. That was his brother.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They had four. Let's see, Rudy K, Bobby K, the Beast, and Leo Burke. They were all brothers. The Cormier brothers in the Maritimes. I love working with fucking Leo. He was easy. Hell, a lot of times he'd go in the ring. He'd been drinking a little bit. Well, sort of a lot of bit, but what the fuck? He was over. That's all that mattered.
Was it a little better after having a couple in the ring?
Well, let's say he was relaxed and he didn't mind selling. He said, I'm going to drink a few tonight. I'll be selling a lot. I said, okay, good.
Yeah, it's it's too bad that the kids these days want to do all these cool moves and stuff because selling's the fun part.
Yeah, but they don't ever get to understand it because they're too busy doing cool stuff. All the heels want to do cool moves.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to sell it eventually because there's quite a run of injuries, the past few years.
Well, that's cause it's like the injury bug. Everybody has got an ego and you want to work hard. And you want to, when somebody's employing you, whether you work for WWE or whether you work for AEW or somebody in between, you want to do good. You want to work hard, but you're not in your body. Nobody's in bump shape anymore. They're not in working shape because when you work 7 days a week, your body's used to everything. Mm-hmm. Now all these guys, that's like a lot of the AEW guys when they finally get a work and they've been hired for a year and a half. They've had 3 matches. Yeah. Just going out there and doing anything, your body's going to be sore the next day and you're going to get hurt. So if your body's not in ring shape, bump shape, working shape, you're in trouble, and you're going to be in trouble because nobody gets in the ring every day and rolls around and does, because it's like guys said, okay, I want to take 1 arm drag, I want to take 1 slam, I want to do 1 back in the match. This is I want to take these bumps to keep my body in bump shape. Because if not, it's going and on the next time it's going to hurt twice as bad. I don't want that. So
when we were in like the peak of of doing your training, your classes and stuff, if I had to go home for a week, when I came back, I was hurt and blown up immediately because even 1 week can make a difference.
Yeah, I know. And when you saw that, you go, God damn, what the fuck did I do? You didn't do nothing. Because you got to feel the fucking mat. You got to do this. You got to do that. And if you don't do it, it's like if you was training with weights, all of a sudden you do 5 sets of a new exercise.
And you're
all of a sudden, oh my God, right. What'd I do? Well, I hadn't done any inclines in 22 years. And so I did I hadn't done any flies or anything. Oh, my titties hurt. I hadn't done any leg curls in 3 years. And I did 1 set and they're rolling up on you at night when you're in fucking bed and shit. So we are what we become. So what,
another problem with the selling is, they do all the cool moves, they do all the spectacular moves, and they kick out of them all, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But when they legitimately get hurt, it's always on something stupid. So it doesn't equate in the fans' mind. You remember at that one we were doing a practice, and Fred was in a tag team match. Fabulous Fred, MVP. He was just waiting for the hot tag, and he tagged in, and tore his rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Just from getting tagged in.
Right.
That's not spectacular if you're watching that on television. And if you've seen a guy come off the roof with a Canadian destroyer and he kicks out, it's like, well, why are you selling your shoulder for this tag? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. So you're doing too much, and you're not, you're killing the legitimate injuries.
When I was working with Regal in England, and I was too busy telling the boys stories instead of doing my usual stretching. Mm-hmm. I walked to the ring. There was some beer on the ground. I half-assed slipped, but I caught myself where I didn't fall, but my quad exploded. Boom, rolled up right there. Wow. Then I hurt my goddamn knee working for WWF, just getting up. You get hurt doing nothing, and you can do all this dangerous shit, and you don't even feel it because your body, you're into it. And then, I mean, if it was a strange move, you're going to feel it a little bit the next day. But goddamn, with me, I got hurt doing nothing in fucking wrestling. And when that's funny, you was talking about just reaching out to fucking tag and tearing your goddamn rotary fucking cuff. Fuck. What the fuck?
Yeah. Let's get a question from code SM96. Funny question. Do you think the Rockers would have stayed together if Vince Jr. never had a hard-on for his boy toy Shawn? As soon as they split, he got pushed to the top. Marty got left behind. Well, Code, I think there's a lot of other factors also that happened that had to do with Marty Jannetty as well, but the question's not for me. The question's for Rip. What do you think?
I think Marty lived a good life. And while he was in his heyday, I bet he wouldn't trade it with nobody. And nobody does good all the time. We're all fucking human. But I bet he goes to bed with a smile on his face every goddamn night reliving some shit.
Well, hopefully. Let's see. Well, we got to get a question from Frank like this. It wouldn't be a show. We can't cap off the show without something like this. Ripper, you think better handy is Trump or Harris?
Would I rather get a wank from Trump or Harris? Is that what he's asking?
I believe he wants to know who you believe would have the better handy wank. Yeah.
Well, God, hopefully it'd be a female. And I like the darker hue.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But then again, if Donald's got a big roll of money in his fucking hand, I'd be putting Donald over.
Well, he's dark orange, so does that count?
That could be a thing where we'd have to do a poll or something like that.
A poll, yeah. If only there was some way to vote or something like that. Yeah, just an anecdote. That's another classic. There were so many Rip-isms that I heard at OVW, but one of my favorite ones, and I would just hear him passing through because I usually keep my mouth shut, and I'd just pass through, and then Rip would be saying something to somebody, and I would just hear part of it. So I would walk by, and I'd hear something like, "God, why the fuck would you ever want to date a white woman?"
Yeah. What the hell, right? You want a woman that was sort of, push you down the steps or hit you in the face with a fucking globe or call you a bitch and spit on you and punch you out for no reason. And you haven't done anything. Yeah. What the fuck, right?
Yeah. There's always the pros and cons of everything. Daniel McNeil jumped in, and afraid he's a little bit late. You may want to go back, Daniel, and listen to the whole episode, because he says, any stories from being on the road with Leo Burke and the Beast up in the Maritimes? I think we just talked about that right before he got in.
Well, that's why you got to tune in early.
Yep.
Even if we come on, even tune in early, and we might come on approximately the right time. And then approximately, I was last week, left here by myself and didn't know how the computer worked. So that was lovely.
Yeah, a little. Well, it was like a match. Like, it started slow, but then once you got cooking, the people were into it, and they were, by the end of it, they were hanging from the rafters, and they were ready to throw the chairs in the ring and everything.
The half house turned into a standing room only. And I think last week it was, well, let's start slow and taper down.
Who was it that said that?
I can't remember. Nothing I say is fucking original. I fucking nicked it from somebody else how many years ago, and they're all fucking brown. They're all brown bread dead, so nobody knows anyway.
Yeah, that's another one I heard passing through from Rip. Was it now? And I've heard Arn Anderson say it also. So now I want to know who got it from who. But that would be Fat looks better tan. Who is that? Was that you or was that Arn first?
That was probably Arn talking.
Probably Arn. Okay.
Yeah. Because we traveled together in 80 when I was working for Fuller, 83, 84. And he lived with Scott Armstrong in one of the all the Armstrong boys. They had the condos. It was like 2 and 3 apartments or whatever, and all the boys was staying there. And then Arn would ride. I had the big old orange van. It had the double gas tanks in it, and so I always had the full van because they could lay back, relax, whatever. Boom, and God, that was a good time there.
Yeah, was he still Marty Lundy then?
This was his first time as Arn Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had worked as he had worked Mid-South before that, and then he was Marty Lundy, and then he come back and then he became Arn Anderson.
Okay, so this was with did Ole give it to him? Was that how it went?
I think so.
It's okay. So
because Ole was the booker in Atlanta at that time, and then Gene was all fucked up. He had like mini strokes or whatever like that, and he wasn't Gene Anderson in it. He still had the same grip and everything when he'd crush your fucking hand and stuff, but he wasn't as ornery anymore. And Ole was. I loved Ole Anderson. I like Bill Watts too. They was like the same thing. Just all they did was want you to be a tough guy, work fucking hard, and do what you're fucking told. It was pretty fucking simple. But wrestlers are all basically assholes anyway. What the fuck, right? Here you are. You're a fucking guy in your fucking 20s. You're on nationwide fucking television. You get your all these different fucking bitches every fucking night. Fuck, what, you know. And then you fucking train because you're fucking vain because you want to look good. So you get more women. So what the fuck, right?
That's living the dream. Well, I believe that is. I think we covered most of the questions. Oh well, I may have skipped this one. Ever work with Nikolai Volkov?
No, I was on a lot of shows with him, and he was fun. He was funnier than hell, but he wasn't trying to be funny. I get him talking about cooking. And he'd be going all these elaborate recipes and how he would do this and prepare this and cut this and do this and dice it up this and that. And it started out as a fucking rib question. And Nick, like, what are you eating today? You know, or whatever we eating tonight. Then all of a sudden you get a fucking half-hour lecture. I said, oh God damn, I should have shut up.
Yeah, I heard that he was quite funny.
Without trying to be.
Without trying to be. Clayton says, Rip, how much do you think the biggest gal you ever hooked up with weighed?
Well, I've never been with a heavy one, ever. But I'm going to.
Chubby is as far as it went.
Yeah. And not really many chubby ones. But I think that's something you've got to explore. I mean, you get later on in life, you get different habits and stuff, right? It's like when you're a kid, I didn't like green beans. I didn't like any green stuff. But then I started eating it. Hey, that's all right. You know, your taste buds change, and you're knowing that if they're a little bit chubby, you know, they got to have the 3 jobs. They know they got to work harder. They got to swallow. They got to get the lotion. They got to get everything for you because you're the star. That's all there is to it. And always be with that woman that wants you more than you want her. Because boys, you're going to get your heart. If you're wanting some bitch, you're going to get your heart broke. So don't want her, and let the one that's in love with you give you everything. And just take it all. You're a no good man.
Great advice. Couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah. So what else you guys got? You got anything? You got anything for For Rip, we're I can't believe that hour and 15 just flew by. Like,
Yeah. This is the greatest hour 15 we did today.
That's right. And it's going to be very similar next week. Hopefully everything will be the same bat time, same bat channel.
Holy shit, you're dating yourself on that.
Exactly. Well, you know, they had reruns of that for decades. It was already, when I was a kid, I was watching Batman on TV, and I didn't even know it was old. I just thought it was current, because when you're a kid, you don't know what's a rerun. You sit in front of the TV and whatever's on's on, right? What were some of the TV shows you remember from when you were a kid, like that maybe you could correlate it to wrestling in a way, like we kind of get led down this path of, like, you know, athletes, superheroes, these different things, and it kind of leads to wrestling. Do you remember anything like that?
Well, let's see, when I was growing up, now this is a different generation now, but there was no cable TV. So you were lucky to get, like, if you were close to Louisville, you got Louisville TV. And if you was close to Indianapolis, you got Indianapolis TV, usually about an hour. The TV would go out. And so it was the same shit. Then I'd watch the independent station on Channel 4 out of Indianapolis. And that would have the Nightmare Theater. They would have the IU fucking basketball. They'd have the Dick the Bruiser fucking wrestling. Then they'd have the Gomer Pyle reruns, the fucking Andy Griffith reruns, Leave It to Beaver rerun. It was fucking rerun city, but it was so fucking cool because you'd already seen them before and everything. So then you'd have hell, I got fucking Happy Herb. He was the host on the Popeye thing, the daily at 4 p.m. when I was a kid. Got his autograph at Geyser Park in Seymour. Got fucking Janie, who took Happy Herb's place, and she was the woman there. Always did some secret masturbation thinking about Janie. You know, she was hot. She was, you know, what the fuck, right? You had to grow up. Memories. It don't get any better than that.
No. Yeah. Oh, well. Okay, so Von Lilas is still out of the room, so we can talk about this because he doesn't know anything about it. But I was trying to get you to talk about comic books forever, and you were talking about the differences between Marvel and DC, and how everybody in DC is so bland and boring,
right?
And everybody in Marvel is like the best because they're like real people you can relate to. So we could talk a little bit about that before he comes in and shuts it down.
Yeah, he's gonna be up there talking for a while. Well, just think, okay, when we're looking like Dr. Don Blake, right? Now everybody knows who Dr. Don Blake is, knows he's Thor, right? And then what's the name of his goddamn fucking his hammer, the fucking mallet? Remember what the name of? Huh?
Mjolnir.
Okay. I never could pronounce it, so thank you. I would go that. And then why Superman has got the little fucking guy, Mr.
Mixie's Pitlick, yeah.
The
magic, because his weakness is magic, right?
Right. So the only thing that could hurt Superman then kill him is what?
Kryptonite.
Green kryptonite.
Green kryptonite.
Yeah, because red kryptonite he might grow an extra fucking penis. He might turn into a transdresser or something like that.
That's
but
right.
The red, and it only lasts for certain hours and stuff like that. But goddamn, and then fucking Batman, you know he's what he is. He's a fucking his parents are gone, so here he is, an older shirt lifter with a young boy living with him, right? Batman, right? with Alfred the butler changing his fucking soiled linens every night, that, and of course he was never married, right?
That's true. That's
true.
And
then and Dick Grayson, he was never married or had a boyfriend or anything, right? So he was non-sexual. So we're growing up with these comic books, and then at least Clark Kent had Lois Lane, right?
Right.
But when you were watching TV with George Reeves, right, and he was doing this, and you see the bullets bouncing off his chest and everything, then you read that Superman fucking kills himself. God damn! I said, how could he kill himself? He was fucking Superman. And then fucking Lois Lane is goddamn. The first one's Phyllis Coates, and the second one's Noel Neal, and all of a sudden you're, wait a minute, fucking that ain't Lois Lane. Lois Lane's that other girl, and now they got this other. That ain't fucking right. And I was fucking mad, and I quit watching Superman for a while for that. But I like how they'd play the same thing of when Superman would look. First, he'd take his glasses off, but and then he's gonna go and whenever he went into that empty office, the storeroom where they got the paper and the paper clips or whatever, I was waiting for him to come in there and he'd catch Perry White getting his dick sucked or something like that. But that never fucking happened, right?
Yeah, it would happen now if they did it now.
Yeah,
like on one of these Superman shows they got. I'm sure Perry White's probably got canceled or something.
And then it's like Spider-Man, Peter Parker, right? Mm-hmm. Fuck all, and then Flash Thompson gets all the hot bitches. Fucking Peter's left to give himself a wank at night. You know, he's probably thinking about Aunt May. I don't fucking know what he was fucking doing there. That then they had all the fucking the characters. Captain America. What was his name?
Steve Rogers.
Yeah, Steve Rogers. Okay, so that's part Rip Rogers too, see?
Hey.
But then he was weak and everything, but he drank the magic elixir or whatever. And then the rest of it was going to make the everybody was going to be like that. Remember that it was a World War II experiment was what it was. And then what happened? How come
nobody else ever?
Yeah.
Because they couldn't the formula got destroyed.
That's right.
So they could never recreate it, and they've been trying ever since.
Right.
And they've come up with a bunch of other freaks for Captain America to have to fight now because they tried. So yeah.
God. And then the fucking Hulk. God damn. The green guy. Remember when the TV show was on?
Yep.
The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I remember watching that. That was one of the ones I was watching when I was a little kid. And they play the sad music when he go to the next town.
Oh shit! God, they used to have like on TV, like in the 60s and stuff. Everything was like cowboys. Well, there's fucking Paladin. Then there's fucking Bonanza. Well, there's Roy Rogers and Dale fucking. Everything was a goddamn cowboy thing, just back to back to back to back cowboys. Then we got the goddamn Munsters and fucking what was the other one?
Addams Family.
Addams Family, yeah. Then we got on that fucking kick. God damn, that was good shit. Was it good shit, or was I just fucking a little kid and I bought everything? I think I was a little fucking kid.
I think, well, maybe a little bit. I mean, some of that stuff is probably still good. I mean, wasn't the Munsters, that was just an Addams Family knockoff, right?
I don't know which
Addams Family was a comic strip before.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
TV show. Yeah,
I didn't know that shit. You're always learning shit. I just remember watching the Superman thing where sometimes he would jump on the box and boom, and he's out the fucking window. And then sometimes they would play it where he was just standing and you could see the wires and he would just take off. I said, damn, that wasn't any good. Then he fucking died. I said, damn, them Superman reruns, they're not going to be as good anymore.
Yeah, that was so, obviously that was before my time, but just hearing about it later, it's like how must that have felt to have, been like young and to hear something like that, like Superman killed himself, Superman committed suicide, George Reeves killed himself. And George Reeves, one of the he wasn't like what you would call like the bodybuilders like as we would know it later, but I mean he was still like a guy in shape for that, for that era, and
yeah, he had the shoulder pads on,
yeah, they made a movie about that too, Hollywoodland, I think. They kind of told a little bit of that story, but I don't know. I wonder what you would think of the new, because when they started making movies in around 2008 with the Marvel characters, when they started making the Iron Man movie and stuff, I wonder how you would enjoy those movies, because they were obviously updated from the old comics, but I think they kept
Von Linus is coming down now.
So okay, we can't talk about
we can't talk about
comics now.
Okay. We can't talk about the comic book heroes we was talking about.
I don't care. If you ever want to quit, hit that. But you can't use your finger. You got to click it.
No, I haven't touched this at all.
That's what I'm saying. But if you want to end the show,
this in stream. Okay, I wouldn't.
It'll pop up again. You got to hit it twice.
Okay, so push this, and then push in stream. So we're just talking. Okay, he's. I think he's got to pee. So
okay.
In between,
we could go a couple more minutes at least. Italian saying favorite comic, and let's say favorite villain. Maybe he means comic book villain, but you could say any favorite villain.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think of I see the guy's face. Dr. Doom.
Yes.
Dr. Doom. Now, that
Gotta love Dr. Doom,
motherfucker,
right?
that motherfucker was scary.
He's over, man.
Yeah, Dr. Doom was fucking over. I'll have to go with that. Like when you had the fucking Riddler, that's funny. The fucking Joker was funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Dr. Doom was. I mean, they kind of got they got a little bit of Darth Vader from Dr. Doom. Like he was an inspiration for Darth Vader, you know, which also an iconic villain, but it all started from Dr. Doom. He would shoot the Baxter building up into space, just like just fuck the Fantastic Four. You're going to space. Just shoot him in space. What now that's a villain.
I'm thinking about how no matter when they did the Batmobile or the Batman light in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would always see it at that particular cloud at that particular time.
A little convenient. Well, maybe that was the Bruce Wayne technology he gave him. Like he only he could see it.
I don't know. Well, we better end this thing up, so I don't want to.
All right.
We'll have to continue it next week.
We'll go out on a high note here, and we'll leave the people with more questions.
No answers.
Yeah, we make sure you get your you get your book, get your T-shirt, get your if you haven't smashed the like button, if you haven't smashed the subscribe button, if you haven't turned on those notifications so that whatever you're doing, your phone will just buzz and light up and alert you, hey, Wrestling with Rip Rogers is live. It's live right now. And you got to get home and watch it. If you haven't done any of those things, you need to do all those things. And if you, let's see, what else do we normally plug here?
I don't know, but Caleb Hall's got me a new book now.
A new book?
Yeah. It was just like the old book. We just continued it off from there. I just got to get some new pictures or this or that, or chop up some old ones that I didn't put on there or whatever like that. So he's on the final stages of that. All of a sudden, say, "Oh, I got another book for you." Oh, okay.
The Prince. Did you ever triangulate his location and figure out where he's at, or is he on
right now? He's in Thailand.
Ooh.
Yeah. He did have he was the only guy I knew that was married to two at the same time, but one was like international and one was like worldwide or something. But now he's with another one, living in Thailand. So what the fuck, right? Don't get any better than that.
Well, they're probably not a chubby girl.
No, I can't
in Thailand, so maybe he's not into that stuff. But yeah, all right. So new book on the way. If you want to, for any reason, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms.
No, it's Opinion Haver or Haver. That's what
Haver or Haver. I'll let you guys decide. And I used to be in the Army of Two. Now I'm in the Army of One and all the things. And I know everybody in California because we all talk and we decided that
that's right.
That Wrestling with Rip Rogers Live is the best show that you're going to watch on YouTube today.
At this time.
All 40 million of us know that. So yeah, and if you want to go to Hameen Media Group, that's Hameen Media Group on YouTube, on Twitch, Hameen Media Group. You could see me do shows. I do shows for reviewing NXT, TNA, any other set of letters that you want, AEW. I talk about all those shows. So if you like that, please go and like and subscribe their channel too. And I think that is pretty much it, Rip. I think you want to say anything to the people before we click end stream?
I know Dutch Mantel's not doing too good right now, but he's had a lot of doctor bills, and Tony Khan's donated to it, and so's Jericho. So they're over with me. So I'll take it easy.
All right. So
I won't be as vociferous for a while.
Check out Dutch Mantel. See if you can, if there's anything you can do to help out, that would be great. And yeah, well, this was fun. Let's do it again next week.
It don't get any better than that.
All right. And
so
end stream and double end stream.
So wait a minute. I push that and then push that. End stream. I'm pushing it. And what's happening? Nothing. Are you there?
Do you got a mouse there?
Yeah. Well, he said, push this button. Now I'm trying to end stream and I'm pushing it like I'm supposed to. And now it's still on.
Is it pushing? Are you pushing the screen, or are you pushing? You got to click. I think you got to use the mouse clicker.
Is that just the thing that I do like that?
I don't know. There's no mouse there. It's like the little kind of looks like one of these.
Nope.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Well, let us just see.
Yeah. He said, push this. I did. Now it says end stream. Maybe I do it, or if I push that again.
Push it again. See what happens.
I did nothing. It didn't. Not yet. End stream. Not yet.